You may have heard of infrasound. What is it, and what does it have to do with wind turbines? You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me, and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy. Hi, this is Dennis Stout, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. Today we're going to consider sound, in particular a certain frequency range of sound. Let me first dive into sound in general for a moment. When something makes a sound, that sound energy creates vibrations that create kind of a chain reaction with that energy. That chain reaction travels in waves. The higher the pitch of the sound, the more often those waves occur. The lower the pitch of the sound, the less often the waves. We identify those tones by how frequent the waves occur in a given second. For example, if the sound has 100 waves per second, then it has a frequency of 100 hertz. 50 waves per second is 50 hertz. 1,000 waves per second is 1,000 hertz. Every note on a scale has an associated frequency. The higher the frequency, the higher that note. Human beings can hear a broad spectrum of sound, from about 20 hertz to about 20,000 hertz. Sound that is above 20,000 hertz is too high of a frequency for humans to hear, and it's called ultrasound. Sound that is below 20 hertz is too low for humans to hear, and it's called infrasound. It's important to note that there is sound happening all around us all the time and on pretty much all of the frequencies, including ultrasound and infrasound. A decibel is the measurement of a sound wave's amplitude, which tells us how loud the sound is. If you were to be in a quiet room and look at a decibel meter, you would see how much ambient sound there is and how loud each of the frequencies are. A quiet room can have as much as 20, 30, or 40 decibels of sound happening. Infrasound and ultrasound can also have 20 to 30 decibels or more of sound in a quiet room. Our brains are so sophisticated, though, that it literally tunes out much of that ambient sound automatically. Have you tried to hear something subtle? Perhaps air flowing in your air conditioner? When you concentrate on it, you can hear it. Your brain causes that sound to vanish, though, when you don't think about it. That ability is how people can live next to highways or train tracks, airports, and other noisy places and not really even hear the noise. Their brains tune it out. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, back to infrasound. Infrasound is sound that has frequencies of less than 20 hertz. And there are those that say that those sound waves can harm us. Here's the basic premise of the concern. They believe that wind turbines generate a lot of infrasound, and that infrasound causes all sorts of health problems. Now, the folks that bring this up are usually the same folks that don't want a wind farm in the area. What they are literally saying is, if sound waves hit your ears less frequently, meaning a lower frequency, and at the same volume, then it's bad, and they have a long list of possible symptoms, including nausea, dizziness, headaches, and insomnia. Now, to me, that doesn't pass the sniff test. If sound waves touch you less frequently, it's worse than more frequently? Let's take that thought to a different context. What if I tapped you on your forehead 60 times a minute? Not hard, just tapping. But then I slow down and tap you only 20 times a minute, or even 5 times a minute, with the same intensity. Would that change to a slower speed be worse for you? Fewer times is worse than more times. So sound waves hitting your ear less often is worse than if it were more often. I'm sorry, that just doesn't make sense. Therefore, it doesn't pass the sniff test to me, and it stinks. It's actually a brilliant strategy, though, by the folks against wind energy. Basically, this is what they're saying. There is this thing that wind turbines do. You can't hear it. You can't feel it. You can't see it, touch it, taste it, or smell it. There is no way to detect it, but it's going to ruin your life. It's genius. Now, studies show that the measured level of infrasound within wind farms is well below the audibility threshold and is similar to that of urban and coastal environments. Here's an interesting thing I learned in my research. The generation of infrasound in wind farms was detected in early wind turbine designs, which incorporated the blades downwind of the tower structure. The mechanism for the generation of infrasound was the blade passing through the wake caused by the presence of the tower. Modern wind turbines now locate the blades upwind of the tower. No more blade passing through the tower wake. So, if there was a problem, it has vanished due to the modern turbine design. The measured level of infrasound from wind turbines and all other natural and engineered sources are well below the 85 decibel threshold of audibility. To put that into perspective, the University of Florida lists sounds we can hear at these levels. A vacuum is 87 decibels. A tractor is 92. A combine or front-end loader is 95. And a pressure washer is 100 decibels. The wind turbine is well below all of those. But where do wind turbine sounds originate? Sounds generated by the wind turbines are usually divided into mechanical sounds radiating from the machinery in the nacelle and aerodynamic sounds generated by the blades interacting with the air. Mechanical sounds could come from the motors that turn the nacelle or feather the blades, or from the generator itself. Research shows aerodynamic sources at the blades are the dominant sound source from modern wind turbines. Laminar flow around the blade generates very little sound, while turbulent flow will inherently produce sound. That's why those older turbine designs generated more infrasound. Do you remember what I said about how our brains can tune out certain sounds? That's what happens in a wind farm. Your brain compensates and causes the sound to be tuned out. There's not much there to begin with, but it compensates and eliminates it. Just like your brain tunes out the sound from those trucks loaded with grain. If you like what I've said today, be sure and click like and subscribe below. If you have thoughts or want me to address a particular topic relative to wind farms, please also leave me a comment. One final note, even a humorous one. One of the big claims is that infrasound from wind turbines cause insomnia, sleeplessness. A 2003 scientific study of ocean waves in Hawaii found that there's a lot of infrasound in ocean waves. A breaking wave may generate infrasound by 1. Violently collapsing against itself, as in the production of a tube, 2. Slamming against a cliff or jetty, and 3. Impacting against a shallow reef. The 1 to 5 hertz frequency range is where most of the infrasonic energy associated with breaking surf appears to be concentrated. Large surf can also generate infrasonic signals in the 1 to 5 hertz frequency bands. The amplitude or loudness of the infrasonic sound is proportional to the ocean wave height. Are you catching this? Waves and ocean surf generate infrasound in the lowest frequencies of 1 to 5 hertz. Have you ever been to the coast? Walking on the beach, listening to the surf is calming. It's relaxing. You can get recordings to help you sleep today. Recordings of music, rain, bubbling creeks, thunderstorms. There are even recordings of crashing ocean waves. How interesting. While some are claiming that infrasound keeps them awake, others are getting rich by putting folks to sleep with infrasound. Go figure. This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy. Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.